Right, so first of all, just want to start off and say I don't want to encroach on anything that John's done. I'm not suggesting that anything that he's done is invalid. So just to make that point first. So these are just some possible alternatives, and it's kind of, I've used quite a lot of different technologies for Silverlight, and some of them have kind of I found to be quite beneficial. So I'll just show you the ones that have been quite good. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to do the coding as we do it, because it seems to work out better that way. I've already made the solution once, but you know, just so I can talk you guys through it. Mm-hmm. So we'll be setting up, we're going to be using domain services and RIA services as well. What we do, along with the entity framework. So it's going to kind of bridge the gap between the database and the Silverlight, which won't require us to do too much work over.
What's that second one that you mentioned?
It's called RIAServices, Rich Internet Application Services. Yeah. I know John looked at it, but I'm not sure. I don't know quite why we decided not to use it, but whether it was considered as a valid technology. Right, so I'm going to start a new Silverlight application. So I guess I'm starting off from scratch with a new project. Silverlight application. Just call it that, doesn't really matter what it's called. Silverlight 4. And I've not enabled RIA services in this. I'll show you why in a little bit. Cool. So, bog standard Silverlight application. I'm not going to complicate it by putting like MEF and Prism and stuff in there at the moment. It doesn't really demonstrate anything for us. What I really want to do is I want to be able to get the same way that we currently use WCF to get stuff all the way through from the kind of data layer, build up with ADO and then through WCF and all the way across to the client. It seems to be a little bit labour intensive with some of the stuff we're doing. Some of the technologies of RIA and domain services we can do it fairly quickly, so that's kind of what I wanted to demonstrate on this. So I'm going to add new projects. That's going to be RIA services. I'm going to call this one domain. So this is where I'm going to kind of put all my entities and stuff. It's got two parts to it. Web and domain, so it kind of splits this project. Well, it's actually two projects. One half relates to the kind of server side, and the other half relates to the client side, Silverlight stuff. So it bridges the gap for you. Let me just go for a quick rebuild on this. Check it's all still working. Good. Right. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the entity framework, and call this entities. So in this case I'm going to generate my entities from the database. This is this is the way that I like to do it personally. I'm going to go and hit the database, and I'm going to get stuff back that I want, and it really is this easy, you know. I'm just going to take this dashboard table because it's got no keys or anything, so you know I'm just going to do a very, very simple demonstration. So that's going to build up the entities in code for me from the database, and I've got a nice little designer surface and stuff. So it's quite cool with this. You can, you know, if I want to add another table, I can update the model from the database, and I go back and I can add some more tables in and stuff. Or if I want to do it the other way, I can update the model generate database from the model. So it provides a kind of UI, kind of GUI, so you can, you know, I can add stuff in, and you know, I can drag.
What do we do instead? I mean, and how much time would that save us? So we manually code.
We do all this in code. What this does give you is it gives you, you know, you use a tool to do it. We do it by hand, so we get a kind of far more fine-grained solution, you know.
And how long does that take compared to that?
You need to look at that task breakdown, I guess, Dave. You know,
On average, though, so say for one table to create the code bits and pieces.
Around about half a day.
Half a day.
I'd say it's longer than that with unit tests and reviews.
Unit tests, I know that.
But with this, because the benefit of using this third-party stuff is that you don't have to write unit tests for it.
This is the thing. Because we are doing everything unit tested.
So why do you have to write unit tests for this?
Because it's all it's not our code. We don't really unit test other people's code. We might write integration tests for it from one end to the other, but we wouldn't. This is all kind of generated by this tool. It's the same way you wouldn't kind of unit test stuff that was.
So what you're saying is basically what you've done there would take us as part of a day to do.
It might, I guess, yeah.
And then you just did it with a click of a button.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but there are kind of trade-offs for it. So, I mean, it may be that this might not be fine-grained enough for what we're doing. I just want to show you anyway. So let me keep on going because I know we haven't got much time. So let's say we've got this dashboard entity here. So I want to link this up now so we can get it from. I want to add a domain service now. So what domain service does is it will expose this all these entities that I've built up straight over to the Silverlight without having to do any work again, which is quite cool. So I'm going to add new item. Domain service class. I'm going to call this my DB context. Text. Save that. And sorry. Actually, it's a bit funny. This I need to rebuild it just so that it kind of knows about the new stuff that I've added. It's a bit of a gotcha. Let me try that again. Domain service. DB context. Add. So it knows about my dashboard entity. That's the only one I've added. I want to enable editing. And what that means is that I can do updates, inserts, and deletes on that entity from Silverlight, and it will generate all the code for me. So I click OK on that. Cool. So I've got this DB context now, which is going to be like my domain. So this is basically like the kind of WCF side, where it kind of, like the proxy, and it kind of exposes everything. Save, rebuild. As I've been adding stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the links between the web application and the Silverlight for all this RIAS stuff, so that Silverlight can access all the entity framework. So references, add reference, web for the web project. Done. Go to the Silverlight, references, projects. So that's the Silverlight side of it. Done. Save that. Let's go for rebuild. Right, so now I've got to just do a little bit of copying because I've got a web config from another project which I've already set up. You know what WCF is like to configure. There's another project. So, because I've generated the entities in this project, it's got the connection string and stuff for the database, but the actual web project itself doesn't know about it. Or sorry, the website. So, if I look at the app config in this guy, sorry, in the website of this, you can see it's got a connection string there. I'm just going to copy that out. Paste it into the web config. Job done. Cool. So that's that. I've got some squiggly lines. I need to add 2 references into this to get it to work. I need to get the... Let me sort these alphabetically. System.service model. I hate this thing. It sits there and you can't sort it until some magic time. So system.service model .hosting, domain services .hosting for that. And into the Silverlight I need to add the same thing for clients. Go and find that system service model. Clients. Okay, got those. Save that. Just go for rebuild. Check I haven't broken anything. All right, cool, done. So, done that. Okay, so next thing, let's just prove that it works, because at the moment we haven't really got anything. So I'm just going to put a data grid or something on there before you have to go for your meeting.
Okay. Can you do all the code? I'm just asking, on the server side, in this as well. Like if I have to do some coding on the server side.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You can do. So I'm going to do a bit of copy and pasting, guys, because I haven't really got time to write the code out. This is one I hacked up yesterday, just to proof of concept. Copy this in. So we start at the top. Private DB context. So DB context is much the same way that our service reference would be to the kind of proxies that we're using WCF. So it's kind of, it's a link through to that domain service.
Like service it.
Exactly, yeah. What we're doing here, we're saying entity query. So it's like a query, a link query, and it's taking a type of dashboard. And we're saying for the domain service, run this query, which basically gets all the dashboards, load it up, and then just set the data grid item source to the result that comes back from it. And let's just see if that works. Hopefully it does. Actually, I'll tell you exactly why it doesn't work, because I haven't called the function at later data. You might think it's obvious. I've only had one cup of coffee this morning. Right, so it's come back, it's got a result, no error. It should bound to that data grid. Where is it? There we go. So I put some dashboards in there already. So we've got data through from one end to the other, all the way through from the database to the Silverlight.
In 15 minutes?
And it's pretty quick.